course, I want to welcome you. I want to welcome you to today's meditation. So right away, let's take our arms up into the formation mudra, which, very oftentimes the mudras involve simply the hands, but there's a whole portfolio of mudras that involve the totality of your body. So, and this is one of them. So this is our formation mudra. We are actually making the shape that geese create when they are flying in formation. So with the arms up, we've curled the index, middle ring, and pinky fingers into the center of our palms, and we've actually sort of plugged them into the docking station, into the ports of the palm, so that there's a felt reality of activation. And then come into your breathing. There's nothing special you need to do just yet with your breathing. Just come into noticing the breathing. And visualize all the people in this circle, in this meeting, all of the people in this gathering, whether you're in a building together or whether you are working, whether we are working virtually, perhaps in the same city, maybe we're working virtually across state lines, maybe we're bridging continents, but we are in formation as a collective. So take this embodied stature, take this moment of embodied stature to, acknowledge that, to awaken that, visualizing our collective. So it's in the visualization of our collective that the individual and the whole find their intersectionality. The individual and the whole. When we feel seemingly separate, but again, like geese in formation, when we are flying, we're woven together with a kind of invisible thread, connecting each of us to every other, and drawn powerfully forward into the story of our future. Let your breath, let these next couple of breaths, I know your arms are on fire, but we want that to happen because it's moving energy, and energy is the currency of life. Let your breath be felt in the back of your heart, in the doors of life, in between your kidneys and the kidneys themselves, and the buttock bones that are rooting you onto where you're seated and onto where you connect to the planet. Deepen your breath. So geese, when they're flying, they fly 75% faster and further when they're in formation. So we're using this posture to remind ourselves of the formation that we make as a collective, as a community of practice, as a community of belonging. And, indigenous scouts were very similar in that way. When they would be on long hunts, they also would create a kind of formation. When birds are in formation, there isn't a single bird who is always at the head. There's a rotation that goes on, and so as a community of practice, we can have moments where we're really feeling strong and embodied and full, and then other moments where we let someone else take the lead while we replenish and rejuvenate and restore our inner resources. And the same thing, would happen with the indigenous scouts. One scout would take the lead and the other would fall to the back while another led. Leading and following, leading and following. We are the transition team, my friends. We are the transition team, and the flight patterns for 2021 are well underway. And each of us, we're healing, we are overcoming, and we are sewing in new pathways into these flight patterns. There's so much possibility in that. So much possibility in that. Now for these next few breaths, and then I promise I'll let you bring your arms down, start finding the wave pattern in the spine, tuning into the collective. And when we tune into our collective, we are actively deconstructing the kind of rampant individualism that we have been experiencing in this postmodern life that we are in the midst of. And all all that it has endangered in our perceptions, on our planet, in our ways of life. When we tune into the collective, we can feel our emotions more, we can befriend our essence enduringly, and we can reimagine the whole in ways that we previously didn't even know to be possible. To reimagine the whole. Now release the fingers from the center of the palm and become aware of the ball of energy that's in front of you. That's like an incandescent quasar of a helpmate, and bring it right in, right there, as the supremely thoughtful being that you are, ensouling and engendering your human sensitivities into this ball of energy, of chi, of life force right here in front of your body. All of your sensibilities becoming more subtle, more subtle. And in that way, what then remains is radical empathy. Radical empathy for our world soul, coming out of the rampant individualism and into empathy for our world soul. Now is a time for transpersonal sentience. Now is a time, always is a time, but now more than ever before, is a time for this quality of embodiment and for finding new angles, for participating with the fragility and the opportunity of this here now togetherness time that we have. One more moment to visualize our collective, the power and the privilege and the potency of our pranic collective. One more breath in and breathing out. Good. So I'm going to bring you into a mudra here, and then I'll give you the breath work. So this is a mudra. This is such a restorative mudra. We've been really focusing on gentle practices this week and all of our or this month rather, in all of our AP work as we get the new flight patterns underway for 2021. So this particular mudra is for healing the ancestral patterns. And no matter what part of the world you came from, no matter who your family was, no matter what your experience was, we all have stories, which means that we have some sort of, and our ancestors had their stories and their ancestors had their stories. So it means that we have ancestral traumas that we're holding in our cellular memory. But, because it's a polarity planet, it also means that we have ancestral wisdom. And so we're going to do a primordial breath that is going to get us into that balanced place of being really competent with holding both sides of the line, the wisdom and the trauma and the wisdom, so that we can, be boldly as radiant as a quasar, taking those courageous steps forward into the story of our future as a community and as individuals. So this is the primordial breath. As you breathe in, you're going to feel the breath coming from all the way back in time. And as you breathe out, you're going to feel the breath going all the way forward and through into the most far out future memory you can imagine. Okay, but we're going to do this with a circle mouth, which means that our mouth is going to be open, which may create a kind of headiness. But again, this is stirring up the life force and it's moving your chi in a good way. So I'll just quickly demonstrate. So it'll look like this. Again, the breath is coming in from all the way back and it's going out all the way forward to the furthest point in the future. So just find that within yourself. In this past year, we've all gone through so many transitions, and our entire life we've been going through transitions. And if you have any sense around the possibility of us having had previous lifetimes, then it means that we've been collecting all kinds of transit memories and transit lines and transit patterns, and they're in us. right? And so by having this hand that's holding you and another hand that's holding you, you're feeling the support so that you can find your axis of strength and your axis of courage to not have all those transit patterns be so harrowing, but to hold them in a way that is dignified, so that each of those patterns that have come from your transitions, each of them become a conscious line in the design of your dignity codes. Okay, so just breathing a couple more breaths here. And feel how the inhale is being fed through the right hand, which is facing the heart, and the exhale is finding its gate through the left hand, palm facing away from the body. It's finding its gate out of the left hand, ancestral healing mudra. So everything we're doing today in this session, you could break it apart. You could do each one of these segments as an entire practice for, a few minutes or a whole hour. One more breath in, hyper oxygenating, and then exhaling also out of an open mouth, out of the circle shape in the lips. Good. So we're going to move into a different breathing technique for this meditation. We're going to work with a breath of fire, the Kapalabhati, and we're going to have the hands in a mudra kind of plugging in. But first I just want to introduce an idea around how this particular breath technique can help you to work with the currency of life, which is your energy. There's this idea of energy economics. Imagine that your body and every aspect of your life was like a company that was full of various different departments, and each department in the company needs to be profitable, needs to carry its own weight, and it needs to be sufficiently resourced in order for the business to be prosperous, right? And our bodies are similar, right? So oftentimes, from this lens of energy economics, it's useful to ask ourselves, what part of my physiology or my psychology or what aspect of my life isn't carrying its own weight? What aspect of my life isn't carrying its own weight? Is it my digestive system? Is it my willpower? What is it? It's going to be different for each of us. And what department in the company of my being is maybe experiencing distress, and what sort of maybe chronic injury or belief system might be holding me back from moving forward into the full story of my future? What might be holding me back? Okay, so we're going to use this technology, this breath technique, to get enough energy into the company of your being. Okay, so use the thumb again, just like this. Now we're just going to bring the same mudra down. We're coming out of the formation mudra, and this particular mudra, when we plug the thumb, the radiance point of the thumb, into the temple, we're opening up the gate of the evolutional mind so that we can graduate ourselves out of the tenacious attachments that we have to all the various addictions that keep us from flying full power in formation. Okay, so breath of fire. I'm going to set my gaze at the tip of my nose, and it's going to sound like this. Okay, so we're going to do this for a few minutes, so please try to stay the course. Please try to stay in it until I cue you to get out of it. And let it break you down a little bit. Let it challenge the heck out of you, okay? Let it poise you so that you discover something about yourself that you didn't actually even know was there to be known. How exciting, that power of possibility. So place the mudra at the temples, open the door of the mind, set the gaze at the tip of the nose, find the axis mundi of your spine. inner body. Let it clean out the pipes, the movement of the abdomen, the power and the medicine of the breath. Whatever position allows you to feel the most connected to the inside of your inside, and to, in this moment, whatever position allows you to feel most connected to the cave of your heart. So this next breath technique and mudra combination is going to do just that. It's going to work into the cave of our heart, and it's going to do it in a way that will bring immense kindness. We're bringing kindness into the inner landscape of our heart, into the cave of our individual heart, so that we can bring that, so we can trust the oracle of our own loving awareness as being the most profound GPS, and we can bring that quality of aliveness to the way that we fly in formation. Okay, so just quickly, Khalil Gibran, he had a really beautiful way of articulating the power of kindness when he said that kindness is like snow. It makes everything more beautiful. As the snow covers everything it covers, it makes it more beautiful. So as we beautify the inner landscape of ourselves with kindness in this next segment, then we can make that outer gesture much more easily and instinctually and ultimately without thought eventually. Okay, so we're going to do the kindness mudra. A lot of you have done this mudra. It's an IP classic. You've done this with me before. So you're going to bring the tip, the radiance point of the pinky fingers together, and you're going to bring the edge of the thumbs together, and then the base of the palm together. And then the 6 innermost fingers will be open like a flowering lotus, okay? And you're going to look into the bottom of the empty vessel that your hands have created. And you're going to do a 4-4-4 part breath. So you're going to inhale for 4 counts, this time through your nose. And then you'll hold on to the breath and you'll let it feed you as you focus. The gaze is set here, but the attention and the presence is in the cave of the heart. You'll hold on to the breath for 4 counts. And then you'll exhale out of the nostrils for 4 counts. And then pause in emptiness for 4 counts. Okay? So we're beautifying the landscape of the inside of the heart. So breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and holding, 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and pausing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Stay with this, staying with this. Beautifying your heart such that you witness yourself fully, such that you become neither victim or perpetrator as we contemplate what we're holding in the world, beyond the heart, becoming neither victim or perpetrator, becoming neither immune or sick, but full of kindness, full of radical empathy, full of transpersonal sentience. 4, 4, 4, and 4. Lingering in it for a few more moments. Becoming richly human, my friends. Perhaps a bit more brave in your spheres of influence. Remember that where your heart is, that's also where your mind is. Where your mind is, that's where you're generating your currency and your energy economy for your life. And you need energy for your brain, for your muscles, for your cells, for your immunity, for your garden of life. And where your energy, that's where your energy is, that's where your power is. Remember 4, 4, 4, and 4. A few more breaths here in this way. Feel your heart expanding inside of the confines of your physical body, becoming more richly human in this moment. And I know of no better way to get unblocked in our lives and to make our way through the wilderness of these times than by cultivating love, a loving awareness. So you can trust the oracle of your own loving awareness as being a most remarkable GPS, capacitating your own captaincy, steering your own ship. Every time you take time to meditate, you are cultivating the habit of excellence. Excellence is a habit. Let this be the last cycle of 4, 4, 4, and 4. You know, Martin Luther King, he said that love is the only force that can transform an enemy into a friend. Feel that power being fed and fueled and fertilized by your life energy and the caliber of your focus. Love, force, intelligence. And then relax the hands. Onto the top of the knees. I'm gonna quickly here turn the music down and slide my harmonium into place so we can sing a little bit. I recognize that it's a little awkward to, maybe it's not awkward. But it's different, right? When we're singing remotely, when we're not in the same room together. And I miss that. I look forward to when we can do that again someday. But for now, I want you to, and this is a super accessible mantra. This is a beautiful old mantra. It's Om Benza Sato Hong. And this is a purification mantra. So we're going to sing this purification mantra to invoke the sort of supreme quality of the universal mind, the supreme quality of the universal mind, to engender our compassion and to put that compassion into action. We're using the mantra so that we can doubt our doubts, so that we can be incandescent trailblazers in our departments of our individual life, but also in our professional departments where we're wielding our expertise, so that we can be incandescent trailblazers. We're cleaning up the fort here so that we can bring that energy of a quasar on fire with courage. So use this moment before we go into the mantra to go into yourself. Use this moment to go into yourself and to be honest with yourself. So radical empathy, but also radical honesty. Being honest with yourself about, where in your life you're doing pretty good. Where in your life you still maybe have a lot of work to do. and where in your life maybe you're still lagging, or in other words, it's clear that you might suck. And I sit up here and I say these things like I'm not subject to it, but I'll have you know, these questions come straight from the mill of my individual process. So asking yourself, regarding purification, where am I doing pretty good? Where does the work need to happen? Where maybe do I need some help? And where am I really behind the ball? Okay. So the last thing I want to say before we actually chant the mantra is you want to use the mantra to kind of create a filter, a kind of matrix in your internal operating system, so that you're saying yes to what matters and you're saying no to what doesn't in your life. So that you're saying yes to what matters and you're saying no to what doesn't. I believe that to be a really important point to awaken within ourselves as advanced practitioners. And to remember that, when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And so this matrix, this filter in the internal operating system ensures us that we have felt through discernment, and that we've thought through it, right? So we're not on the reactionary setting, but everything is very well considered, and the response is whole. So sing with me, please, as best you can. And even if you're not in the melodic structure of it, even if you're not in the melody, and you're just saying the mantra with me, that too is still going to convey the sound current into all the mitochondria and catalyze that cleaning, that elevating, that lighting up. Okay, so let's sing. Om Binza Sato, 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 Your awareness, if it's not already, and if it is already, take it in even more so into the cave of your heart, into the garden in your heart. May we continue to plant tender seeds in our life gardens. May we continue to do the work that allows us to position our hearts and our heads together. For it's through our mental freedom that we attain the transpersonal sentience that is so needed in this time. Thank you so much. I can hear someone working in the background, so I'll take that as my cue to transition. Sat Nam and Namaste.